There's some more big developments going on with the Bloodline story, so we'll take a look at some very interesting theories there. We'll see what Jey Uso is saying, if Roman has already replaced Jey, and much more. Let's start things off with WWE's most in-depth and detailed storyline, and that's of course everything related to Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens main evented Royal Rumble because that post-match moment was huge and was about to turn the Bloodline story upside down. So like we previously talked about, you had Sami Zayn who made a move on Roman Reigns first after having enough of his insane orders. Then you had Jey Uso who also had enough, thought everything was wrong, and walked out on Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. What Sami Zayn did really struck something within Jey, and he had to get away. We previously talked about how everyone was freaking out over Jey Uso's Instagram post of him saying he was out. But Jey followed that up with another post that had the community going wild again. Jey Uso posted a picture of himself and Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble with a caption that read, "Run it back." The caption that Jey Uso added there is in regards to Roman and Jey's first meeting for the Universal title from back in October 2020. It was a feud that we discussed an endless amount of times because of how perfect it was, and how it set the perfect foundation for Roman's tribal chief character. Roman was the new champion at the time, and Jey Uso had just won a #1 contenders match for the Universal title. The big issue here started when Roman started to notice that Jey Uso actually thought he had a shot of taking that Universal title away from him. So Roman went on this whole new gear of hostility towards his own family member to protect his Universal title and prove himself as the unquestionable leader of the family. Roman eventually beat Jey down into further submission and gave him the position of being his right-hand man. Roman even used his usual manipulation tactics back then on Jey Uso, telling Jey that he's better off being by his side, and how Jey became main event Jey Uso only after he linked up with Roman. So these were all the different things that Roman would constantly tell Jey just to brainwash him and keep Jey by his side, and it worked so well for Roman. He eventually used similar tactics on Jimmy Uso when he came back, and that's how he was able to get them all under his control. So when Jey is now talking about running it back, everyone is assuming he's talking about another match between himself and Roman Reigns. He finally broke out of that 3-year-long brainwashing and wants another crack at Roman Reigns, which is something that everyone wouldn't mind. Roman's feud with Jey Uso is still looked at till this day as being one of the greatest feuds of Roman's entire title reign. So having the opportunity to revisit that feud 3 years later with so many things being so much different from how it was back then would be interesting to see. Back then, that feud between them was just about the Universal title and maybe a bit of family pride. But that same feud in current day would have even more weight to it. Sure, it's still about the Universal title and family pride, but now, Jey would be unleashing 3 years worth of frustration and built up anger towards Roman Reigns. So, if you thought their first feud was legendary, it sounded like the sequel could be even better, considering all the story elements that are going on right now. Speaking of things that have changed since 2020, Jey Uso no longer appears to be number 2 within the Bloodline rankings. For the longest time, Jey Uso was known as the right-hand man, the unquestionable number 2 option for the Bloodline. If Roman wasn't around, Jey Uso was next in line to hold down the operation until he gets back. But take a look around and you notice that even that has changed. Jey Uso no longer appears to be the number 2 option. That honor and position looks like it could be shifting over to Solo Sikoa. Solo Sikoa said some words during his first night on SmackDown, but ever since then, he's been this absolutely quiet, yet unstoppable force for the Bloodline. He doesn't share his opinions, he doesn't butt into any matters or conversations that don't concern him. He strictly does whatever is ordered to him. He's Roman's #1 muscle, he's the enforcer, and Roman was turning to Solo Sikoa to handle every single situation for him in recent weeks. When Roman was going to attack Sami Zayn during the court hearing, Roman didn't send Jey up there to attack Sami, he sent Solo Sikoa. Roman has been selecting the Bloodline's enforcer to handle all his business, rather than how it used to be of sending the right-hand man Jey Uso. So maybe the fact that he was slowly being replaced by his younger brother doesn't really bother Jey Uso that much. That's obviously not the biggest issue on Jey's mind right now, but you can't ignore the fact that Roman has basically crowned Solo as the new right-hand man. And you can make the argument that Solo's even more impactful and intimidating than Jey ever was. So Roman is probably sitting back and looking at Solo as an upgrade from Jey Uso. Fans also notice a pretty cool little moment from the very end of the Royal Rumble broadcast. If you listen closely when the Bloodline is exiting the ring, Roman Reigns can be heard talking to Solo Sikoa, and he had this to say to him, quote, "We're at war now, Solo. We take no prisoners now," end quote. So Roman's little line there could have a lot of different meanings. A lot of fans wondered why Roman didn't address those comments to Jimmy Uso as well, who was standing just behind Roman. For whatever reason, Roman only addressed it to Solo Sikoa, which again does reinforce the idea that Roman thinks very highly of Solo Sikoa and does view him as his top soldier. And the line could also be hinting at the idea of that more ruthless side making a big return for Roman Reigns' character. Like we talked about during the early months of the story with Sami Zayn, Thunderdome Roman Reigns probably would have never entertained Sami at all. That version of Roman Reigns was brutal and strictly about his business. So maybe we're returning to that ruthless version of Roman Reigns, the version that didn't tolerate any nonsense and was a brutal leader. That's why Roman said he was done holding Sami Zayn basically as a prisoner. It's WrestleMania season, things are gearing up, and like Roman even said himself, it's a war now. So no more games. We should see a whole new brutal side of Roman Reigns, considering the fact that he was once again betrayed by someone who was close to him. Roman will have his hands extremely full in the coming months as he goes to war with pretty much 3 different superstars. There's a lot of rumors that we will see Roman Reigns versus Sami Zayn sometime in the very near future. So that'll be the perfect way to top their entire feud off. Then obviously Roman will have to address the issues with Jey Uso. Jey has done this similar thing several times over the last few years. So maybe Roman knows what to say and do to get Jey back under control. And if it doesn't work, we could be getting another match between Roman Reigns and Jey Uso. Then, of course, we can't forget about Cody Rhodes, who just won the Royal Rumble and will be facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So, 3 pretty big roadblocks are currently in Roman's way within Sami, Jey, and Cody. So Roman's gonna need the unity within the Bloodline to be tighter than ever if he plans on walking out of these first few months of 2023 with his world titles perfectly intact. The Bloodline story is so deep and just has so many different layers and elements going on all at once. So it's gonna be a lot to continue to see what twists and turns lie ahead for Roman Reigns. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.